I like to imagine that Akihiko ran everywhere he needed to go. Ran or swam. Yeah, absolutely. Early morning, May 3rd, Japan. This man is going through the airport without a shirt and, like, claw mark scars on his body. After a flight that took over half a day, I arrive in Japan. Every time I fly, it always strikes me how cramped the seats are and how dull it is to be on long flights. Considering that we're being placed in a hypoxic environment, it's a waste not to equip the seats with pec decks or give us access to some cardio equipment. What is wrong with you? As I head towards the arrival lobby while thinking about my ideal airline, I hear something I haven't heard in a while. A newscaster reporting in my mother tongue.
Good morning. It's May 3rd, Constitution Memorial Day. Our top story today is an update on the hijacking 2 days ago. 5 men attempted a daring hijacking of a domestic airline, the first such incident in Japan in the 21st century. Police began their official interrogation of the arrested suspects this morning. But all depositions have been vague so far, with suspects complaining of muddled memories. Psychiatric exams are being considered.
So it was just Labris using her, like, illusion tech on them to make them steal her. Okay, very interesting.
That must be the incident she mentioned in her email.
2 days ago in Japan, a jumbo jet bound for Kagoshima was hijacked by a group of 5 men. The hijacking attempt was quickly dealt with because of the hijackers' half-hearted planning, but there was a bigger issue. Unbeknownst to the public, the passenger flight that was hijacked was supposed to have a very important piece of cargo loaded onto it. During the confusion surrounding the hijacking incident, the cargo seemed to have been stolen before it was loaded onto the plane. The hijacking was just a smokescreen for the real crime. Words. Using a hijacking as a distraction for a simple cargo theft is pretty daring, but it's also desperate and risky. My mission is to retrieve that cargo from whomever wanted it so badly. This isn't a situation that could just be left to ordinary policemen. This cargo is extremely dangerous, and the retrieval has to be done discreetly due to its sensitive nature. I look away from the monitor and begin walking again. My cell phone immediately begins ringing, as if the caller was watching me the entire time. The name Mitsuru Kirijo appears on the sub-display. Mitsuru Kirijo. She's the one who summoned me here for this mission. I didn't tell her any details about my return flight, but she must have found the information on her own and called after learning of my arrival. She's still as prepared as ever.
It's me.
It's been a long time, Akihiko. I'm sorry to call you back on such short notice.
Don't worry about it. How was it a good stopping point?
Mitsuru has a much greater standing in the group than I, but we've been classmates since middle school, and she fought alongside me in my biggest battle. I have a feeling that the only reason we were able to pull through such an ordeal was because we helped each other back then.
So, who's our next enemy?
Don't be so impatient. You received the brief I sent you, right? What I didn't say directly in it is that the stolen cargo was from Ergo Research.
I figured it would be Kirijo Group related, with you having to call me back.
Most ordinary people in Japan would have at least heard of the name Kirijo. The Kirijo Group, a large conglomerate, one of the few within Japan that can boast a large market share overseas. Their influence is so ever-present that they touch many aspects of a typical citizen's daily life. Mitsuru is part of that organization. In fact, she's the only daughter of its founding family. She grew up with untold responsibilities and expectations and has been forced to navigate tumultuous social situations ever since she was young. That is why she has a refined personality, maturity beyond her years, and strong leadership skills. Although the same circumstances also expose her to the occasional surprising lapse into naivete.
What was inside this cargo?
The 5th generation anti-shadow suppression weapon, Labris.
An anti-shadow weapon? What does that mean?
Yes, she's one of Aigis' sister units. She was sealed at the time of the robbery, but we think it's very likely that she's been activated by now.
Which means there's a good chance there'll be a fight. Alright. Yeah, this would be too much for the normal authorities. Sounds like it'll be right up my alley.
The man who ran the group 2 generations ago, Koetsuo Kirijo. He was the founder of the group and also Mitsuru's grandfather. Around 10 years ago, some research he was working on brought... Yeah, I played Persona 3, thank you. I played the game. I played the game. Yep, I'm not gonna read all this. It's literally just saying like, hey, here's the story you saw in Persona 3. Normal people are completely unable to sense the distortion of shadows at all, and yet the same distortion could cause the entire world to collapse. 3 years ago, Mitsuru and I, along with our friend... Yeah, I played Persona 3, thank you. Thank you. Yep.
Fighting is not our first option, but I'd be more reassured with you there. We have a general idea of where it was taken, the Inaba area. where there were reports of suspected shadow activity last year.
Okay, I'll meet up with you at the actual location.
Are you heading directly there? You never change. Let me know if you need anything and I'll make the arrangements.
Protein, that's all.
What? No, it's better I don't ask. I'll send you the precise location later. Sorry to call when you've just returned from a trip, but I'm relying on your assistance.
I love it how he says protein. Like, I just imagine Mitsuru, like, has an air carrier coming, or like a little drone, bring him just like a jar of protein. He chugs it, and that allows him to run at super speed to Inaba. He doesn't need her to get her a car or anything. If he could just down some protein, then he can get there himself.
You went to a lot of trouble to create the Shadow Operatives. I won't do anything to tarnish the name. I'll see you there.
The Shadow Operatives, that's the organization I'm a part of. We're a joint task force comprised of the Kirijo group and the police. Officially, we do not exist. Our main mission is to deal with shadow-related cases that the police are incapable of handling. Our objective is to prevent or minimize the collateral damage caused by shadows. Shadows can only be defeated by persona users. Mitsuru, myself, and many of the members belonging to the Shadow Operatives have personas and knowledge about them. Mitsuru's fully dedicating herself to prevent Kirijo's tainted legacy from falling into the wrong hands. That is her? No. It is the shared duty of all of us in the group. I noticed that I've unconsciously formed my hand into a fist. I have an email from Mitsuru giving me the details on the meeting location. As usual, she's thoroughly planned this out.
Inaba, huh?
A smile appears on my face. An opportunity to use all the skills and strength I'd been honing. I will commit every fiber of my being to fulfill the duty I've been given. I couldn't ask for more. All right. Akihiko time. The same day, afternoon. I arrive in Inaba earlier than I'd planned. There's a lot of time to kill before I need to be at the meeting. In order to get a feel for the town and what's going on, I decide to walk around a bit. From the looks of it, it's an ordinary countryside town. I can't believe that people think a level 4 shadow-related case occurred here last year. As far as I can tell, there doesn't seem to be any disturbance going on right now. It looks like that unit named Labris isn't running amok here either. As soon as I stray from the main street a bit, it's mountains and fields as far as the eye can see. The air is clean and traffic is pretty light, so the town has that going for it. This would be a great place to go running early in the morning. I wait for evening to come while exploring as much of the town as I can.
Almost time.
My cape flutters in the wind as I shadowbox and jog to the meeting area, an intersection on the outskirts of what this town would call its shopping district. Meeting up in a rural area like this is a bit of a tricky situation. Since the Shadow Operatives do not officially exist, we need to draw as little attention to our mission as possible, which is why I'm running around town shadowboxing without a shirt on. Hopefully we can quickly join up and be on our way so that the residents don't take notice of a bunch of outsiders assembling in their sleepy town. Unfortunately, when I arrive at the meeting point, Mitsuru and the others are nowhere to be seen.
Something happened? I doubt she'd run into any trouble she couldn't handle, though.
Could it be that I'm at the wrong place? There aren't any tall buildings to block my view, so I look in every direction. The only thing obstructing my view is a mountain of garbage that looks like it might be a scrap heap or a junkyard. I may as well be diligent and head over there just to make sure. I enter the area and it is full of all kinds of junk. Cars and household appliances, large and small, are piled into small artificial mountains. I test my footing and begin climbing up the stacked trash. Looking down, I spot a long black limousine that is completely out of place in this tiny town. I come to a realization and sigh.
Of course. They'd stand out no matter where they were, so they could only park here.
Two of my friends are standing by the limousine, a woman decked out in a fur coat and a mechanical girl. It's Mitsuru and Aigis. Right before I call out to them, Aigis does something bizarre. She extends her right arm towards the TV screen in front of her, and... Aigis' hand is passing right through the screen. Her steel fingers aren't breaking the TV screen, they're definitely going inside it. Concentric rings of white light are rippling forth from where she inserted her hand.
It's the same as mine. It's hard to say definitively since this is my first encounter with it, but I believe this reading is from a personality module.
Does that mean our retrieval target is inside the TV?
I don't understand how or why, but it seems that people can enter that TV. If that's the case, it would be the perfect place to hide stolen cargo. That makes things easier.
Huh. Sounds like fun.
The two of them look up, surprised.
Is that Akihiko?
I leap off the mountain of trash and land in front of them like a cool dude.
You didn't show up at the rendezvous point, so I went looking and found you here. This whole TV thing is pretty interesting.
Akihiko, what on earth are you wearing? Just what were you doing overseas?
Didn't I tell you that I was on a training expedition?
Don't tell me you came here from the airport like that. Does the concept of keeping a low profile mean nothing to you?
I take a glance at Mitsuru and I can tell that she's summoning up her coldest stare. This clothing allows me to have much better mobility, but I don't think Mitsuru's gonna listen to my explanation.
Mitsuru-san, I believe we have lost the right to complain about that.
Glancing at Mitsuru's clothing once again, I can't help but sigh. Since Aigis had already voiced what I wanted to say, I decide not to make a comeback. Mitsuru simply shakes her head and sighs back at me. Seriously, this is what happens when you grow up in a wealthy family, sheltered from the lives that normal people live. Yep, normal like Akihiko.
Anyway...
I slam my left fist into my right palm. Aigis' sister unit, Labris. She's apparently inside a TV located in an obscure part of a countryside town. I gotta wonder, what else could be waiting for us inside?
We can get inside from that TV, right? And what are we waiting for?
Still the same Akihiko. We don't know the situation inside yet, and we'll need a secure means of getting out.
So what? If we want to get this Labris back, someone has to go inside, right?
Well, that's...
Mitsuru's at a loss for words. I know that I'm voicing my opinion more forcefully than she's used to, but it's what I have to do. I know Mitsuru well enough to sense when she needs someone to prod her into action. Wanting to exert control over every situation is a commendable trait, but in certain situations, waiting doesn't allow you to seize any more control, and it also gives your opponent more time to prepare.
Our target hijacked a plane to throw her into a TV in this town. If we sit on our hands, it's possible we'll be put in serious danger.
I lock eyes with Mitsuru and take a step towards her.
We're different from how we used to be. We made the choice to fight shadows as professionals. That's why I traveled around the world and trained harder than ever. And now that something's actually come up, you're hesitating? We agreed to do this. I'm ready to stake my life on the mission.
3 years ago, I had said that it was my duty to help in the fight, but looking back on it now, I know that a lot of it was just for kicks. Seeing myself definitively becoming stronger and experiencing all that personal growth was incredible. Becoming stronger felt like it would satisfy some deep desire within me. And if I died giving my all against a really powerful opponent, I didn't really mind the thought of going out like that either. I was honestly fighting for myself more than anything else. But now, something has changed in me. I wandered around the world with something in the back of my mind constantly nagging at me, something about not having a grasp of some part of myself. I know that I want power, the power to protect others, but that feeling has always been there. There's still something else though, something different. A few seconds of silence pass, then Mitsuru's eyes narrow. Her eyes are filled with a steady determination.
All right. Wait right here. I need to go make a phone call first.
Okay, but make it quick.
Mitsuru heads towards the long limousine with a wry smile. I turn my gaze towards the most prominent of the illegally dumped TVs. As I reach out towards the screen, my fingers sink into it in exactly the same way Aigis' did.
My fists are ready for action.
Excitement wells up within me as a reaction to the new sensation I feel from my fingertips. Alright, I assume this is the same as what we saw in Mitsuru's earlier, so we'll just skip that. Chair room? Yo, we fighting Kanji out the gate? When I open my eyes again, the first thing I can see is a high ceiling. I get to my feet and look around. Basketball hoops, a ground lined with white tape, and folding chairs stacked high into the air.
Is this a gym?
Time to start working out, bro! What I'm seeing now isn't matching what I expected to be seeing. If my memory's correct, I entered the TV with Mitsuru and Aigis. Is this what's inside of the TV? Then it hits me. This isn't reality. Everything looks extremely real, but I sense odd presences nearby. I brace myself inside this oddly quiet gym. If I'm the only one here, I must be cautious. I'm alone. I suddenly realize that Mitsuru and Aigis should be here too. They came into the TV with me, but they're nowhere to be seen. Do we get separated from each other as we were falling in? Nah, it's more likely that we were separated intentionally. Well, I don't really need to worry about them. Pretty sure that they'll be able to handle anything in here on their own. Even if something does attack them, those two will just counterattack with icicle executions and machine guns.
This feeling in the air reminds me of somewhere, though.
I felt this harsh atmosphere before. I dig through my memories. That's right. This is what Tartarus felt like. The tower full of shadows where we did battle 3 years ago. Since this area is unfamiliar and, I'm assuming, hostile, there's no knowing when an enemy may attack. But waiting around to get ambushed isn't really my thing. It's time for me to get moving. Just as I think that... Oh my goodness, it's Teddy. What in the world is that? A bizarre object approaches me from further inside the gym. Bizarre object. It's red, blue, and round. On top of that, it's walking on 2 feet. I've wandered all across the globe to different regions, but I've never seen such a bizarre creature as this.
Huh? There's a weird guy in a cape.
Weirder still, it's able to communicate.
You think you've got the right to call me weird? You seem suspicious.
How rude! I'll say the same back to you. Being half naked and wearing a cape is totally suspicious.
Why did Sam Riegel put so much work into saying half naked there?
Could this be the pervert I've heard rumors about? My innocence is in danger.
Innocence? What innocence?
You're making no sense at all. Who are you? No, don't tell me. Are you a shadow?
Huh? I'm Teddy. Teddy!
So you are a shadow.
I just said I'm Teddy. Teddy! It's easy.
No bear has fur that color. Or can talk.
How cruel. I'm an adorable, sexy beast, no matter what angle you're looking from.
Teddy? Does that mean he's different from an ordinary kind of bear? Suddenly a monitor nearby springs to life. What appeared on it was also red, blue, and round. It's another bear thing. Or to be exact, it was also Teddy.
I can't have you wandering about on your own. You're such a troublesome bear. You're the troublesome one. How dare you do whatever you want while looking like me? It's a violation of my image rights.
Violation.
What's going on? Are you twins or something?
Huh? I've discovered an unknown half-naked caped man. An intruder. Unexpected.
Alright, he's having the same breakdown that he did in Mitsuru's story. They always say half naked. Why don't they just say shirtless? Suddenly, the sound and image on the monitor get corrupted, just when I thought I was going to start figuring some things out about this place and those creatures. The screen flickers and dies out. Is this some kind of ruse? The monitor pops back on. Once again, it was Teddy's. Ugh, this is too confusing. I'm just going to refer to the TV bear as bear number 2. People in a lot of overseas cultures add suffixes like the second or the great onto their kids' names, so I figure I'll go with something similar. When was the last time someone gave their kid something like the Great? Even like all I can think of is Alexander the Great, and I don't think he was given that as his parents did not name him Alexander the Great. He was Alexander, and he did a lot of conquering, so he earned the title the Great. What are you talking about? I'm in some crazy TV world, so I'm not just going to assume that these guys are Japanese. Like bear number 2 is going to care anyway. I've wasted enough time rationalizing this. Bear number 2's eyes gleam in a sinister manner. He starts speaking clearly now.
Case 04, unintended intruder. Entering elimination process.
Elimination, huh? I don't really have any clue as to what's going on yet. But I do know that bear number 2 has just won the right to be the first one here to taste my fists. Dude, that line is so cold. I love it.
I don't know exactly what's going on, but I've seen enough. Looks like you're the enemy here, bear number 2.
I'm not sure how much stock I should put in common sense while I'm in this TV world, but if he's using a PA system, I'm guessing there needs to be some kind of control booth for it. Since I'm in some kind of school, that means I'm probably going to find bear number 2 in the announcement room. Oh my goodness, when did Akihiko become smart? If Labras is inside here, and if bear number 2 is running this whole event, he's got to have some kind of information about her. I turn to Teddy.
As for you, Teddy, he seems to be your enemy too, but why don't you step down and let me handle him?
I proceed to walk off in search of the announcement room, but...
No way!
What?
I mean, who are you? You haven't even told me your name.
I'm Guy with Fists number 3.
And that bear might be a bad guy who tricked my beloved sensei and friends. I can't leave this in the hands of a half-naked caveman like you. Why
does Sam Riegel say half-naked like that? I hate it. Teddy Teddy looks surprisingly resolute as he refuses my offer. Does he have friends of his own that he's trying to desperately to protect too?
Well, your costume is strange. I do like that fire in your eyes.
What's that supposed to mean? It sounds perverted coming from a half-naked cave guy.
Hey, I have a name. It's Akihiko Sanada. You don't have to call me half-naked cape guy. And I know I can't prove I'm on your side just by saying so.
I'll prove it by punching you in the face.
So judge for yourself whether I'm worthy of your trust. In the ring.
You're that excited to do this?
Fists don't lie, you know? Now come on, and I'll give you everything I got.
I put my fist out in front of me in focus. If one does not face their cowardice, they cannot summon a persona. That's why persona users used to have to undergo the trial of holding an evoker to their heads. But that was simply a ritual to overcome one's psychological blocks. It isn't a required step in wielding personas. My resolution has always been within me after all.
Come, persona!
I sense power rising from deeply within me. Dude, they're just gonna fight. Labris didn't even have to, like, trick Akihiko into it. He's just like, thing that I can punch? I'm in.